Joining us now is someone who knew Elvis very well, his fiancée when he died. Please welcome Ginger Alden. Ginger, what a pleasure it is to have you with us today. Thank you for coming on the show. Ginger, you're one of the few people on the face of the planet who can give us a glimpse into the life of this international superstar. And like we say, you were his fiancée when he sadly passed away. But if I could take you back to when you first met him, it was actually because of your sister, wasn't it, that this meeting came about?
Yes, my sister was Miss Tennessee in 1976. And we received a phone call at our home one evening from a good friend of Elvis's, a gentleman named George Klein. And my mother answered the phone, came in the room, and said George, or Elvis was dating around and wanted to meet the new Miss Tennessee. So it's like, okay, so it's kind of a long story, but trying to make it short.
We've got time.
Oh, okay, good. My sister, we were all excited about it. We just thought we would get to see the inside of Graceland and meet Elvis, and that was it. And one thing led to another, and my oldest sister was like, well, if Terry goes, can me and her go? Just stepping into Graceland because, as I said, I grew up in Memphis, and driving by that house and, you know, growing up, just stepping in was just magical. All of a sudden, I see a figure come in through the door, and I thought it was another friend or something. And Elvis just comes walking in. He had on this blue, like, karate top with black pants. The hair wasn't the pompadour, the usual, but I thought he looked handsome, and I was very shy, and I just blurted out, hi. I said, like I've known him for years. And
there was this instant connection between you both.
It was odd that I said hi to him right away because I was so shy. But he knew all of our names. Obviously, people downstairs had told him our names, and you know, he shook our hands and he knew who was who.
This instant connection kicked in, and suddenly he was whisking you away, and this very intense relationship followed very quickly. There was something straight away that you felt, this is it. This is...
Well, that first night he said, Ginger, you're burning a hole through me after a while, and I thought it's because I'm staring at him, I guess. But yeah, I was invited back the next evening.
On your own?
Yes.
Yeah?
Which, is, as I said, it's a long story. It's a long story. But, yeah, and Elvis was sitting on his bed, and he would wear this one-piece, like, blue zip-up suit. And I walked in, and he got up and turned off the TV, and he goes, you know, television destroys the art of conversation. And if you know Elvis, you know, he had TVs in the bed, he had TVs all over the house. And, but that night, he played an electric organ in his office for me. He had done that the first night as well. He did that, and he started talking about his cars, his different cars, and eventually he said something about wanting me to see one of his airplanes at Memphis Aero, a private airport. And so we took a ride in this beautiful black Stutz Black Hawk, and we pull up to the airport, and I thought we were just going to see the plane. And we go inside, some bodyguards were with us, and at a point, Elvis goes, oh, I forgot something. And he jumps up, and he leaves with a couple of bodyguards. So I'm sitting on the plane, and two of his cousins were with us. And all of a sudden, after a little while, Elvis comes back, and he goes, I just got pajamas. And he goes, we're all going to Las Vegas. Now, this was the second night, and I had never been out west before.
Wow.
And
so
it was quick romance. It was a quick
How long then from your first meeting to when you got engaged? Because it was quick, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was on, right away, I was brought on tour. It was about a week later. And I was on every tour after that. Yeah, he performed in Las Vegas, and then we got engaged on January 26th. Wow. So...
how did your parents react? Because they had a history of dating quite younger women, didn't they?
Yes, he did. But, you know, as I said, we grew up. My father actually was in the service and goes way back. I met Elvis when I was actually 5 at the Mid-South Fairgrounds. My father was in recruiting and public relations when Elvis was drafted into the Army, so my father was there. And there's some great pictures of my father shaking hands with Elvis right as he was going into the service. And anyway, my father ended up knowing Elvis's uncle that was a guard at the gate, and they were invited to the Mid-South Fairgrounds. And so my family was invited. So I was 5, and I remember Elvis patting me on the head.
So you had this sort of really instant relationship, etc. And you were also with him, sadly, the night that he died. Well, not sad that you were there, but sad that he died.
Yes.
So what was the build-up or the atmosphere like at the time?
You know, that there was nothing unusual. People ask, oh, did he feel bad? Did he, you know, at that time? And that day was like I had always seen Elvis be nervous before a tour, and just having a little problem sleeping. And so there was nothing unusual about that. And so it was quite the shock for all of us, and just a tragic day.
Sadly, since his passing at just age 42, of course, Ginger, a shock to all of you. There are a lot of, and you feel there have been a lot of misconceptions and a lot of misrepresentations about Elvis. He was lonely, or he was sad, or he was depressed. You have a very, very different view on that. In fact, he was planning your wedding the day he passed away. He wanted to get back up on stage. There's lots of sort of grey areas that you want to try and put right now.
Absolutely. There was so much speculation, and, I mean, outright lies started forming. And I had moved on with my life after he passed away, and I was married, and I have a son. And I wasn't aware of just how bad some of this stuff would get, so that's a purpose now, and it feels good. I feel like I'm a strong curator for his last 9 months.
And this is exactly what you're doing now, Ginger, because you've got an evening with Ginger, Elvis Presley's Last Love and Fiancée. It's a UK tour. It starts tonight, in fact.
Yes.
And it's a chance for you, I suppose, to recollect just all of these memories, these stories that you want to finally share with people. And like you say, put the facts straight in many respects.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And so I'm looking forward to it. I've never been in the United Kingdom before, so that's I'm super excited. Yes, we'll start off in Stockport, Middlesbrough, Basingstoke, and Eastleigh. So,
actually, I admired your necklace when you came in.
Oh, thank you.
Put your scarf back.
I wore this.
I know, look at the diamonds, for goodness sake. Was that from Elvis?
Yes, it represents tender loving care. A lot of the women would get gold tender loving care necklaces, and the men got TCBs, taking care of business, lightning bolt fast. Yes. So, yeah, special.
Actually, a friend of mine, just want to say quickly, because he's known for his generosity, always known for generosity. And there's a lady called Evie Brickus who's married to a famous songwriter, and she did Double Trouble with him.
Oh,
and he gave her, tied up in a bow, a red Porsche at the end of the film. Oh, and she was so young herself. She was about your age, actually, when you met him. And she thought, I can't possibly accept this, you know. And eventually, her husband and her son never forgave her for giving it back.
Oh, wow. He's such a generous to a fault, but such a generous man to complete strangers. You know, if he was buying a car for his father and someone walked in, it's like, you get one too. Just a heart of gold. Wonderful, wonderful.
An extraordinary talent and an extraordinary chapter of your life as well, of course, Ginger. Thank you very much for sharing that with us. And like we said, many more tales to share on the tour throughout the UK.
Much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ginger. Oh,